4 non-Rotarians for their notable impact upon our community, done in the spirit of Rotary's motto of service above self. In honoring these persons, we also honor the memory of former Rotarian Cap Kilbourne, whose legacy makes these awards possible. Edgar Hamilton Kilbourne was born April the 12th, 1885, in Baltimore, Maryland. There was not a lot of money in his family, so young Edgar often spent his days with other boys creating mischief at the Lafayette Market in downtown Baltimore. He seemed to draw the attention of merchants who recognized that the young boys had potential to drive away their customers. So the merchants purchased wooden guns and gave them to the boys, hoping that that would be a distraction from other misadventures and maybe started a militia, I'm not sure. They turned the new recruits the Lafayette National Cadets. And picking up on this theme, the boys gave each other titles. One was a sergeant, some were corporals, but only one boy, the leader, was given the name Captain, and that was young Edgar Kilbourne. And so for the rest of his life, he became known as Cap Kilbourne. Cap attended school only until the age of 9, at which point he began work as a newsboy, a grocery store clerk, and at a pretzel factory. In his teenage years, he looked for greater opportunities. Soon after the turn of the century, he landed a job in Detroit at the Pearson and Huff horse harness factory. He would later joke that it was just his luck to begin work in a horse harness factory at the same time in the same town where Henry Ford was launching the automobile industry. That didn't work out so well, so he looked for other opportunities south, and he came to Fort Wayne in 1907, where he launched a career in the real estate business. He would work with companies needing land, acquiring and preparing the property. One early client was his friend Jim Penny, who operated several dry goods stores in Colorado and Wyoming under the name the Golden Rule Stores. But Jim had national ambitions, and Cap Kilbourne helped him to locate real estate for new store construction. Jim's stores, as you know, became very successful, and someone suggested a rebranding effort, and so the stores became J.C. Penney's. Penny convinced Cap Kilbourne to relocate in New York City to handle the expansion of the J.C. Penney network, which he did in 1931. At that time, he returned back to Fort Wayne after that endeavor. And then over the next 50 years, Cap's firm would develop real estate in Fort Wayne for such corporations as Dana Corporation, North American Van Lines, Wolf and Dessauer, and the Lincoln Tower. And it was Cap Kilbourne who would, in the early 1950s, acquire the property on the near northeast side of Fort Wayne that had come to be known as Randall Woods to build the campus which today we know as Parkview Randalia Hospital. Cap Kilbourne set up a charitable trust in 1946, and for 70 years that trust has provided grants to local charities and scholarships for deserving students. In addition, because Cap Kilbourne was a longtime member of the Fort Wayne Rotary Club, we receive a gift each year allowing us to recognize community leaders as Paul Harris Fellows. Recipients of this award are to be non-Rotarians from Allen County who have an exceptional record of community service over an extended period of time. Each recipient of the Exceptional Community Service Award will have $1,000 donated in their name to Rotary International Foundation. The recipients thus become Paul Harris Fellows, in honor of Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary International in 1905. This gift to the Rotary International Foundation provides the funds the foundation uses for its international projects in health, education, and community service. So we're extremely pleased today to present Exceptional Community Service Awards and Paul Harris Fellowships to 4 wonderful candidates who exemplify Rotary's motto of service above self. One of the persons that will be honored this year could not be with us today and will be honored at a club meeting in June. We will defer until then honoring Mark Hisey, Parkview Health's Vice President for Facilities Design and Construction. We're going to honor Mark in June for exceptional volunteerism benefiting special needs populations. And now for today's awards, I would like to introduce Irene Walters, who will make the first award.
It is my honor to tell you about Ben Eisbart. Ben moved to Fort Wayne 45 years ago, and his involvement in the community has been non-stop since that time. He moved here in 1972 from New Haven, Connecticut, giving up the world of financial investment as a stockbroker to enter the world of social service as the executive director of the Jewish Federation. After working in that capacity for 8 years, he re-entered the business world and served in several executive leadership positions at OmniSource and SDI. He retired as vice president of SDI in 2015, but has definitely flunked retirement. From the day of his arrival in Fort Wayne, Ben has served in an incredible number of board service and leadership positions, reading like a who's who of Fort Wayne civic, fine arts, and social welfare agencies. In fact, the list is mind-boggling, and here I go, just listen. As a public servant, he represented the 4th District as a member of City Council for 8 years, serving as president twice. Served for 4 years as the FWCS school board, on the school board, and has been both the chair and a member of the Fort Wayne Redevelopment Commission, the County Redevelopment Commission, the City Plan Commission, the Metropolitan Human Relations Commission, and the chair of the Allen County Economic Opportunity Council, now called Brightpoint, and is currently serving as vice president of the Allen County Capital Improvement Board. That's just the beginning. He has also lent his talents and passion to the arts and social services. He was the president of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, as well as the chair of the Civic Theater. He was the founding board chair of the AWS Foundation and continues to serve as a member, along with currently chairing the Philharmonic Board and serving on the boards of the Allen County Library, and he's back on the Civic Theater Board. His reputation for leadership and even-handedness has led him to be appointed by several mayors to serve on various task force and think tanks. An example of one was when Ben chaired Mayor Henry's first-term transition team. Ben not only continues to lead and serve, but he is generous with his time in mentoring the next generation of leaders. All told, Ben epitomizes service above self and is a most worthy recipient of Rotary's highest recognition, the Paul Harris Award. Let's welcome Ben.
Thank you very much. It sounded almost like my obituary. By the way, for those that are concerned, I asked Bernie Sanders to hold up the IFW rally so you can get there if you like. It's going to be 2 o'clock today. I took a brief respite from yesterday and put together just a few notes. I will be brief. First of all, I thank you very much for bestowing this honor on me. As our grandkids would say, it's a big deal. And as a former Rotarian, and I do see many of the individuals with whom I shared membership in the club several years ago, I really have a special place in my heart for Rotary and the Downtown Rotary Club. The good deeds that the club does is outstanding. Eliminating polio. Last time I looked on your website, I think there are just 3 countries, 3 locations anyway, where polio has yet to be eliminated, working with student Rotarians, international students, and living the 4-way test, which even though I'm no longer a Rotarian, holds a warm spot in my heart. I had occasion to serve on the downtown board when the issue of whether the club should accept women as members arose. That was an issue that was fairly hotly debated, transforming Rotary Anns, I don't know if you call them Rotary Anns anymore, into real Rotarians. And with the likes of Barb Watchman, Irene Walters, obviously this was a decision that was long, long overdue. One of the other roles that I enjoyed was Sergeant at Arms, raising money for club projects. Don't know a hell of a lot about beer. If it were scotch, not a bad thing. So based on the 4-way test and the honor system, I'd just like each of you to answer 2 questions. You have pieces of paper in front of you. This is the honor system. And for each wrong answer, just put in a buck. We know that Paul Harris started the first Rotary Club. The question is, where was that club started? So if you don't know it, that's fine. Just write it down, okay? And the second question is, why was the club called Rotary? Okay, so the first is, where was the club founded? And why was it called Rotary? All set? On the honor system, those of you that had Chicago as the location, please raise your hand. Looks like almost everybody's, okay, so a few bucks in the pot. Why was it called Rotary? God, you guys are great. Well, in any case, my favorite role was Sergeant at Arms. Hopefully I raised at least $3. And thank you so much for listening.
Congratulations, Ben. Excuse me. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, and fellow Rotarians, I am John Kowalczyk, and I am here to present the second award today. Born in Fort Wayne, graduated from Northside High School and Indiana University and its School of Medicine, Dr. Thomas Hayhurst has been an active community volunteer for many years. He served on the boards of Arts United and Invent Tomorrow, and he is a founding member of the Northeast Indiana Passenger Rail Association. He served stateside during the Vietnam War era as a general medical officer in the United States Air Force, and he has been involved in politics, sometimes a winner, sometimes not a winner. Dr. Tom's contributions to our community in the medical field cannot go unnoticed. He completed pulmonary and critical care fellowships and practiced as a specialist in that field from 1974 to 2005. He is currently the medical director of the Tuberculosis Control Division of our Fort Wayne, Allen County Health Department. He served on the boards of the Arthritis Foundation and is a founding member of Veterans for Better Healthcare. His medical training stood him well as a Fort Wayne City Councilman from 1996 to 2008, because it was during this time that the council passed an ordinance banning tobacco smoking in public. Then the mayor vetoed the bill. So the council revisited the issue, convinced a sixth person to vote in favor, and overrode the veto, which was enough to make Fort Wayne the second city in Indiana to become smoke-free. But practicing medicine and voting for health-conscious ordinances were not the end of Dr. Tom's community efforts. In 2007, he founded the Multi-County Medical Outreach Clinic in Wolf Lake. Its mission is to provide volunteer doctors and nurse practitioners to serve the uninsured and the underinsured residents of Noble, Whitley, and Kosciuszko counties. The clinic is now headquartered in Columbia City. Dr. Thomas E. Hayhurst, the Rotary Club of Fort Wayne salutes you with our Community Service Award and your second Paul Harris Fellow as an outstanding example of our international motto, service above self.
Thank you very much. Remembering that the Gettysburg Address was only 2 minutes long, which I've been reminded on many occasions when I was overly verbose, I'll make some very brief comments. First of all, many thanks to the Rotary. I have great respect for this organization, locally and internationally for the work you do, including working with kids at Washington School. I know various individuals in the room that read to kids there and work with kids there. I think that's a great project, as well as various international projects in which you've been involved. I have a couple of comments to make regarding public service. And way back, I don't know exactly when, somewhere I believe in high school, I decided it was my job to run for public office. And I almost dropped out of medicine to enter some other field, maybe law or whatever, and become a lifelong politician. A local councilman that some of you will remember, there's a little gray hair in the room, John Robinson, said to me, I think you should just do your life's work and maybe the opportunity will come along to run for public office. So I kept that in mind and I did that, and I was honored to serve on city council for 3 years. We had, I will say, I was elected in 95, 99, and 03, and all of those 3 terms, all other 8 council members, I felt, were focused on serving the community. And I'm saying that clearly in a bipartisan way. I also want to say that we have a great precedent in our community with Win Moses, Paul Helmke, Graham Richard, and Mayor Henry for another clearly bipartisan statement I want to emphasize, for serving the community. With that thought in mind, I want to encourage anybody in this room, even those with a little bit of gray hair, and even a lot of gray hair, to strongly consider running for public office. We need more individuals who are going to serve, do the job, get the job done, serve the people, and not be ideologues of the left or the right. I can certainly see that was true of Win Moses and all of those individuals I've served with on city council. With regard to Rotary, I'd like to make another comment, and that is that I honor your focus on polio, which should have been eradicated long ago. For various reasons, it hasn't been eradicated. But the same applies to the disease tuberculosis. So for once polio is eradicated, I think we're on the verge of having that happen. I want all of you to keep in mind that there's something like 1.5 million cases of tuberculosis globally every year. 1.5 million, or 8 or 9 million cases of tuberculosis where people are sick with tuberculosis, has a 50% mortality rate untreated. Every year, 1.5 million individuals die every year of tuberculosis. That includes 300,000 kids globally. So I'd like for anybody here that has the opportunity to lobby your national organization to take on TB as your next challenge, your next global project, because TB should have been eradicated 50 years ago. The treatment has been available. 99% of cases are treated and cured with drugs that have been available literally for a half century. So with all that in mind, thank you very much. I honor your organization. I greatly appreciate the efforts of all of you in this room on behalf of our community, and thanks very much for the Paul Harris Award.
I get a chance to talk about Rachel Tobin-Smith. She is dedicated her whole adult life to keeping children safe, and is truly the children in this community. She is their best friend. Her passionate service has made our community stronger and better for our children. As you all know, Rachel is the executive director of SCAN, Stop Child Abuse Now, and has been in that role since 1985. Since then, the agency has really grown from almost a one-man shop with a budget of $29,000 to now an employee base of over 200 with a budget of $16 million, which provides service to 28 counties in northern Indiana. Rachel has been an innovator in programming. She developed a multifaceted education program that reaches more than 2,700 children and adults in northern Indiana. She oversees the Be Someone Now program, which helps young adults who have dropped out of school pass their high school equivalency tests and prepare for additional schooling in the workplace. I got to know Rachel the best by volunteering in that program. And I saw her in action, and you all know how hard it is sometimes to communicate with that age group of 16 to 24 sometimes, and she was magical, and she's magical with every age group. And I saw the work that was being done to help these kids. She has a passion for keeping families together when that's possible, and helps facilitate with parenting programs and counseling. She provides needed counseling and visitation services that take a broken family and help make it healthy again. But all of this is done for just one reason, and that's for the child, which is always the priority. She founded the Healthy Families Allen County Collaboration and instituted the first Healthy Family program in the state. Rachel has served on so many boards and committees. These are just a few. Park Center, Switchboard, Fort Wayne Women's Bureau, Crossroads Children's Home, Indiana Children's Coalition, and the Child Advocacy Center of Allen County. So you can see anything that involves protecting children, she's in a leadership role. She's also a member of the Governor's Commission on Abused and Neglected Children and Their Families, Child Care Advocacy Council, and the Council on Child Abuse and Neglect. She has a multi-page listing of continuing studies and education courses that she has taken that demonstrate in yet another way her commitment and passion for her life's work. Over the years, Rachel has become a respected leader in the field of child advocacy. Her ability to bring people to the table and collaborate with others has brought positive change. She's a terrific leader, a gifted teacher, and a passionate defender of children, in addition to being like an all-around nice person and fun. Rachel has earned many accolades and awards for her work, quoting one of her many fans. Although she has received many awards and commendations, she will tell you that her work is the most rewarding. Knowing that she is helping real families with real-world problems, that's her motivation. And it's not just her job, it's her life. I have known Rachel for a number of years and have had the privilege of working with her as a board member of SCAN. She's a tireless worker for kids and families. For over 30 years, she has been literally a 24-hour-a-day, 365-day-a-year advocate for the children of Northeast Indiana. Our community has been blessed by your service, Rachel. It's been a privilege to know you, and an honor to be here to talk about you. Your impact on our community is nothing short of extraordinary. Congratulations on this terrific honor. Your lifetime of service has made our community better for us, and we are very grateful to you.
I'm probably loud enough that I don't need the mic. Those of you who know me well know that I'm loud enough, and I said that these other two gentlemen are so much more experienced than I am in the world of community service. I feel pretty honored to just be with you both, and I know you both well. I thought a lot about, well, I am a Buckeye. I have to say I counted also. I forgot to make sure you put that in there. I went to Ohio State, and it's really important to be a Buckeye, especially in Indiana. And I'll probably never be a Hoosier, guys, not ever. Sharon Eisbart was at the beginning of my career, and I started out at Daybreak, and when Daybreak first opened up, which was a children's shelter for respite for little ones whose parents couldn't take care of them, we ran into great financial difficulty. And back then, for those of you who don't have gray hair like some of the rest of us, there was a corporate council in town, and the likes of Ian Rowland, Mr. Black, I can't even, Mr. Schaefer, were all on the corporate council, and a community volunteer who was on our board got us an appointment with the corporate council so that we could talk to them about getting some fundraising going and some money so that Daybreak didn't go under. And I was a young mother at that point. I had a child in one of those walkers. Remember the walkers of your grandparents? And they roll around on the kitchen floor. And this is over 30 years ago, and I wasn't very old then, but I am old now. But I was about 31 years old to be exact, and my daughter is going around in the walker on the floor, and I'm preparing my speech, and I have this pale pink suit on. That way, back then, women always wore suits. They didn't wear dresses because we needed to fit in with the suits. And my daughter is rolling around in her walker, and she comes over to me, and of course, stupid mom, I had given her jelly, grape jelly. And guess what she did? She grabbed me around the legs to stop me as I was pacing with the grape jelly. And the grape jelly got all over my skirt, and at that moment, I just became enraged. And I could have easily have reached down and grabbed that child and picked her up and shaken her, because that's how I felt inside. But there, because of some education, and because I knew there was another suit upstairs in the closet, and because I had the grace to count 10, I didn't shake my child to the point that she became abused and neglected by a mother. But I was lucky. I was a person who had a lot of wherewithal, and many of our parents in our community don't. And that's what my life has been about, and that's what my service has been about, to help all those children who don't have somebody like that, who can take that moment. And my work is to begin and to always stay in touch with those parents for, I hope, another 30 years, but I might not live that long. So thank you all for this honor, but you're really honoring all the parents who I represent here, who every day struggle in our community. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the committee who chaired the effort for our Community Service Awards. They did a phenomenal job this year with all the nominations that they had to choose from. They picked some of the greatest in Fort Wayne. Made me proud to be a Hoosier and a Mastodon for the ITFW folks. And also be a resident of Allen County. So let's give them all a round of applause. It's just speak a little bit to what Ben said, we are down to 2 countries. It's Afghanistan and Nigeria, and I believe less than 10 cases this year. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. So we're very close. It could be within the next 12 months that it's completely eradicated, that is polio. So that's something else to be proud of and to be a part of now as Paul Harris Fellows. Again, I'm very, very much appreciative for all that you've done, the committee. It's been a great program to have you all here. And it is political season, if you haven't noticed, and we're in a very unique situation. Rotary is an apolitical organization, so I'm not going to say anything on either side. But it's unique in that we've got all 4 candidates in some way being represented over the last few days. And I don't necessarily approve of political jokes because I've seen too many of them get elected. I've got a few points left. A little bit of capital there. But with that, I'm just going to leave it there. I've got a few more, but I'm going to leave it there. As Rotarians, we look to the 4-way test to guide our thoughts, words, and actions. Please stand with me and join me in reciting the test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is to the truth, is to the character of all concerned.